Have you been spending most of your time lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, but not actually wanting to do anything? The unread messages keep piling up. The deadlines don't disappear. But your body feels so heavy that even the smallest task seems impossible. So you look at yourself and think, maybe I'm just lazy. But what if that's the wrong label? Because from the outside, laziness and burnout can look almost identical, even though they're driven by completely different forces. Today, we're exploring 7 signs you aren't lazy at all, and why your brain may be shutting things down for a reason you never realized. Let's get into it.
Sign 1. You're living on autopilot. Think back to yesterday. Can you actually remember living it? Or did you simply move from your bed to your desk and back to bed, like a pre-programmed routine? You went through the motions on autopilot, but your mind felt somewhere else entirely. In psychology, this is called depersonalization. It's a protective response where your brain begins disconnecting you from your experience to shield you from emotional overload. This isn't what laziness feels like. A lazy person chooses to rest and usually enjoys it. You don't. Instead, you feel empty, numb, and strangely disconnected from your own life. Your nervous system has pulled the emergency brake, not because it's giving up, but because it's trying to stop you from breaking under the weight of too much stress.
Sign 2. The high achiever collapse. The most fundamental difference between laziness and burnout is timing. A lazy person avoids effort consistently, year after year. But you weren't like that. You used to be the one who got things done. Disciplined. Self-driven. The person everyone could rely on. So what happened? Somewhere along the way, the deadlines stopped feeling exciting and started feeling heavy. The emails you once answered in minutes now sit unread for days. The reminders appear, and you just stare at them. If you've only recently become indifferent and drained of willpower, this isn't a character flaw. It's neurological exhaustion. Your brain has been running under constant stress for so long that it has started conserving energy instead of spending it. You didn't become lazy overnight. You simply ran too hard for too long without ever allowing yourself to recover. Now your mind is doing the only thing it knows how to do, slowing you down before the stress pushes you past a breaking point.
Sign 3. You resent the things you used to love. One of the clearest differences between laziness and burnout is what happens to your passions. A lazy person still finds energy for the things they enjoy. Gaming, reading, spending time with friends. But burnout doesn't just drain your motivation for work. It drains your motivation for everything. The hobbies that once helped you recharge now feel like another task on your to-do list. In psychology, this is called anhedonia, the reduced ability to experience pleasure. After living under chronic stress for too long, your brain's reward system becomes less responsive. Even the things you love start to feel strangely empty. So, if even watching a funny video or picking up a hobby feels exhausting, you're not running out of discipline. You're running on empty.
Sign 4. The world sounds too loud lately. Have you noticed how everything feels louder lately? A notification makes you flinch. A web page takes 3 extra seconds to load, and suddenly you're gripping your phone like it personally offended you. Maybe you even snapped at someone you love over something small. And the moment the words left your mouth, you barely recognized yourself. From a neuroscience perspective, there's a reason for this.
Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, is stuck on high alert. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps regulate emotions and make thoughtful decisions, is running on empty. Your nervous system has become so overloaded that even a minor inconvenience is treated like a genuine threat. You haven't become a difficult person. Your brain is simply trying to survive with more stress than it can safely process. When your internal alarm never switches off, even the smallest sound can feel unbearably loud.
Sign 5. Survival mode starts making the decisions. When your brain enters survival mode, it begins rationing energy. Anything it considers non-essential gets pushed aside. And the first thing to disappear is self-care. You stay up late even though you're exhausted, or you sleep for hours and still wake up tired. You skip meals or reach for sugar and fast food because they're the quickest source of comfort your depleted brain can find. This isn't a lack of discipline. It's what happens when your nervous system is focused on surviving instead of thriving. When chronic stress drains your mental resources, your brain stops investing energy in long-term well-being and starts chasing whatever feels easiest in the moment. Your habits didn't suddenly get worse. Your brain simply began spending every remaining ounce of energy on making it through the day.
Sign 6. The second-hand smoke of emotion. If you notice too much, you may be absorbing the nonverbal noise of everyone around you. You walk into an elevator with 2 people, and even if they are silent, your radar catches the tightness in their jaws and the weight of their restraint. By the time you get home, you're exhausted. Not because of the work you did, but because your nervous system spent the entire day carrying emotions that were never yours to begin with. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional contagion, our tendency to unconsciously absorb and mirror the emotional states of the people around us. It's a kind of social hangover. And sometimes the only way your brain knows how to recover is to shut everything down for a while.
Sign 7. Holding it together while falling apart. You said, "I'm fine again today." Maybe in a meeting, maybe to a friend who asked if you were okay. You said it so smoothly that nobody even paused to look twice. But inside, something was screaming the opposite. Here's the clearest sign you aren't lazy. You refuse to let yourself have the right to be tired. A lazy person is comfortable doing nothing, out loud, without apology. You spend your last drop of energy doing the opposite, putting on a mask and telling the world everything is under control. In psychology, this is called masking, and when it goes on long enough, it leads to something specialists call high-functioning burnout. You're not thriving, you're performing, and every performance has a cost. You've been locking yourself inside the pressure of looking fine, piece by piece, until there's nothing left holding the mask up from the inside. But here's the truth no one told you. You were never actually lazy. You were exhausted and terrified of what people would think if you finally admitted it. You don't have to hold it together anymore. You're allowed to be tired.
Before you leave, remember this. Recovering from burnout is rarely a straight line. Some days you'll feel like yourself again. Other days, even getting out of bed will feel like a victory. Both are part of healing. So stop asking an exhausted mind to prove its worth by pushing even harder. Real recovery doesn't begin with doing more. It begins with giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. Now I'm curious. Which of these 7 signs felt the most familiar to you? Let us know in the comments. Not to label yourself, but because someone else reading your story might finally realize they're not alone.